did that whole thing again on the overhead because I was using the C pentatonic. Why? C is part of the tonic function, yes, but it's also part of the subdominant function, and that's our topic, right? Subdominant functions. One of the subdominant chords is A minor. A minor is relative minor to C. That's our tonic, so we can use things that go with C and A minor on the F. So I was playing F to C, F to C. I never played the Lydian note, but it still sounded really strong because I was defining that C center with the C pentatonic, and also called the A minor pentatonic. So let's check that out on the overhead, and then we'll do something else. So what's happening here is I'm going to be using the A minor not as a replacement necessarily for the 4 chord, because it's not a strong sound, and it really is better replacing the 1 chord. I'm going to actually be using the A minor for my colors in my right hand in improvisation. So that's what we want to look at again, and that goes back to the C pentatonic, but we're going to look really close now at A minor as our first thing to deal with besides the 4 chord. Okay, so here's our A minor, like we said. And you'll notice the C triad is in there. Pretty sound. Now I can start leaving notes out for voicings. If you'd like to get into voicing ideas, then we could put A there. That's one idea. This has almost everything in there, doesn't it? What about F? That's a nice sound. We could do this. I urge you to take that and look at it, study it, and then figure out that so you can play it. It'll train your ear. Or it gives you ideas. You can just watch what I did and you can do that. The goal is to, as always I say, to make sure you can do what I'm doing here. So if this causes more questions than answers, then please email me and let me know, because I'll correct anything I've left ambiguous. It's certainly not my intention. I'd like you to have everything clearly. So I'm using these notes for the A minor and splitting them between the 2 hands. And I'm also using the root position F voicing, F major notes, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 7, 1. There's our A minor. So I'm getting an unbelievable amount of sound here. This can help you with arranging or comping. But you can see this is all subdominant sound. Why? Because I'm going to land on C. Now, If this was the one chord, it would still work because that's how things work in tonic functions. That's why I wrote everything out in 12 keys for you in the tonic functions and the diatonic system. I did all of that in the 12 keys because once you get that stuff going and you start really relating to the interchange between major and minor triads that are very much related, then you're not thinking so much as what to play, but when to play it. And that's dictated by your ear. So when you hear this sound, you'll do it, and it will be all of these things available. So F and A minor and D minor really become one huge chord, one big thing with different sound options, but it's all one chord. That's what happens with your tonic. You end up having C, A minor, and E minor. They're really all the same thing. And then you have a G triad in there at the top, which makes C sound really good, and that's related to the E minor. So I'm going to put this all up right here beside me as I'm talking so I don't leave you in the dirt. But that's what you want. That knowledge, that freedom, that comfort with what you're doing is how you start being able to improvise and comp more efficiently, more effectively, and more joyfully, because you're not bound by the chord changes, you're not bound by one or two voicings. You've got lots of options, lots of freedom. So we're going to leave it at that, and that's something to check out again in terms of your subdominant functions. So we've got one more to go, and we'll do that next time. But for today, that's our Roman numeral 6 is the other subdominant function. And hopefully we got some good ideas to apply there.